someone that you actually know in your personal life. These people always go after their goals no matter what. We usually call these for go-getters or overachievers. And you'll notice that they do not allow fear to overcome them or conquer them. I've been very
Right.
blessed with knowing someone like this. And no matter what, he stays focused on success and he doesn't let fear overcome him, and he continues to walk in his destiny each and every single day. And I just want to let you know how inspiring that is to me. So you may be wondering, okay, Aisha, I understand that fear is a major issue for many of us, but how can I achieve my goals despite my feelings of fear? Well, it's quite simple. You simply learn to overcome them. Again, you may be thinking, yeah, this much easier said than done. And again, you're absolutely right. But you're in luck today, because today you're going to learn 5 ways to conquer your fear. And so already, I would like to give you this opportunity to grab a pen and paper so you can write down some of this juicy, valuable information that I'm about to share with you right now. But before I tell you what the 5 ways to conquer your fear, I would like us to take a deeper look into what fear actually is. And I want to start out by letting you know that fear is false evidence appearing real. You may have heard it. I've heard that many, many times, and I'm here to say that it is absolutely true. And I have a secret that I want to share with you right now. One of my biggest fears is public speaking. I've always been afraid to speak in front of crowds. Whenever I do, I begin to sweat, my heart begins to race, and my knees become weak.
Oh,
So bad
yes.
to the point I feel like I'm going to pass out. But guess what? As many times as I have spoken in front of audiences, I haven't passed out yet. Knock on wood. And I've only received positive feedback about my speaking. So as you can see, that although I feel nervous, that nervousness is not seen by others. And sometimes I ask, get a little curious. I was like, did I appear nervous to you? And they always say, oh, Aisha, not at all. So as you can see, the sweating, the rapid heartbeat, the weak knees are all examples of false evidence. Even though I was physically feeling those things, no one saw them. Basically, the fear was all up here, all inside my head. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
proud to say that about a year ago, and this is my attempt to overcome my fear of public speaking, I joined Toastmasters. And if you're
Okay.
not familiar with have you heard of Toastmasters, Roxanne?
Absolutely. I've been trying to find one in my area to join.
Oh, great, great. Well, for those of you who are listening, if you haven't heard of Toastmasters, it's an organization that gives you an opportunity to speak in front of an audience multiple times to overcome your fear of public speaking. Their philosophy is that you speak in front of an audience, the more comfortable you become and the more likely you are to overcome your fear of public speaking. I want you, if you're listening right now, I want you to repeat after me. Everything that I want is on the other side of fear. Oh, doesn't that feel good to say that? Let's say it again.
Mm.
Everything that I want is on the other side of fear. Good.
Clever.
So, yeah. So where does fear come from? Let's look at the top 3 places. One place that fear comes from is bad experiences. I have a friend who almost drowned when she was younger while she was taking swimming lessons. It was such a terrifying experience for her that she did not take swimming lessons for another 15 years. She decided to give it a go again. This time, she actually did learn to swim. Oh my gosh, she could swim like a fish. But if you put her in water where her feet can't touch the floor, she panics every single time. Basically, bad experiences is probably one of the worst places that fear comes from, because when
So
we're
true.
trying to conquer that fear, we immediately go back to that time where we were so terrified that we allowed fear to overcome us. Another
Absolutely.
place, yeah, another place where fear comes from is our parents. I'm sure many of us grew up with our parents saying things like, don't talk while you're chewing your food, or you could choke, or you better put a jacket on before you go outside, or you will catch a cold. Or like my mom used to say, you better stop running around this house before you bust your head open. Oh, she used to say that all the time. And even though, of course, we know our parents love us and they care about us very, very much, what does those warnings, those constant warnings, what do they teach us? They teach us how to fear. So although our
Yes.
parents may, yeah, so although our parents may mean well, for some people it's done more harm than good. Another place comes from
Absolutely.
is other people. Sometimes people will try to put their
Mm.
fears on us, not on purpose, but in an indirect way. I remember I was watching one of my favorite pastors, Joel Osteen, and he was sharing with the audience a story about a husband and wife had this intense fear that someone was going to break into their house. So for many years, she would beg she would hear a noise, and she would beg her husband to please go downstairs and check to see what that noise was, because she constantly thought a burglar was breaking in. And every single time her husband would go downstairs, there would be no one there. Well, one time she heard a noise and she ripped the covers up and she was like, baby, please, please, please go downstairs and see what that noise is. And this time when he reached the bottom of the steps, he felt a gun pointing right at his head. And he heard a
Oh
male voice
my.
say, yes, give me all your valuables and no one will get hurt. So of course, the husband races upstairs, grabs all his valuables, and he gives them
Mhm.
to the burglar. And as the burglar turns around to take off, he goes, wait, could you please go upstairs to meet my wife? She's been waiting on you for 15 years. So as funny as that story is, there's one thing I want you to take from this, and that is to never accept another person's fears. And I want you to say this with me right now. I will not accept the fears of others. So let's take a look at some negative effects of fear. And as you can imagine, there are many, but we're only going to cover a few of those today. One negative effect of fear is that it can rob us of our joy, peace, and happiness. Have you ever heard the
So
saying,
true.
you cannot be fearful? Yeah, that you cannot be fearful and faithful at the same time. So I'm here to tell you that that's very true. And I also have a saying, you will never experience true peace and happiness until you learn to overcome your fears. Another negative effect of fear is that fear can end relationships, even marriages. There are so many people out there that have been hurt so many times. I know I've suffered from a couple broken hearts myself. And when those individuals enter into new relationships, they not only bring their baggage with them, but they also bring their fears. So think about a wife who is constantly suspecting her husband of cheating. And that's because the last guy that she dated was a philanderer. Or think about a husband who unfortunately was abandoned as a child. So he goes and gets married and he's constantly afraid that his wife will leave him. Eventually, he becomes so fearful that he's also abusive and controlling. He uses
Mm.
his fear to control his wife and keep her in a fearful state. How sad is that?
Yes.
Another negative effect of fear is that fear can also affect our health. Did you know that when you allow yourself to feel fear, you partially or fully suspend your digestive system? That's right. Also, have you heard the term scared stiff? Well, the scientific explanation is that when we ourselves feel fear, our bodily rhythm becomes lost, our breathing becomes jerky, and our heartbeats gets out of tune. Often when this happens, panic immediately follows. Another sad and negative effect of fear is that some people turn to drugs and alcohol because of it. These
Yes, they
individuals
do.
are, yeah, these individuals are afraid of life. If you know someone like this, you may notice that at times they become defensive, aggressive, and sometimes overly sensitive. Although these are also symptoms of withdrawal from the drug, it's also a sign that there's a deep-rooted fear that they've probably been dealing with most of their life. When they are not drunk or high, they miss that controllable pleasure that they get from the drug. And they get so used to guarding themselves, and what that drug does is it guards them against their fears, and it helps them deal with their emotional pain. Sadly, these individuals are also abusive and can become very addicted to all kinds of drugs. And I just want to let you know that these individuals have a fear of losing control. But the ironic thing is that if you are addicted to anything, and that's a sign that that control has already been lost. Another
So true.
example, yeah, another example of individuals who succumb to fear-based addictions are those who have a fear of being socially accepted or liked. Sometimes we term these individuals as social drinkers. As you can see, fear-based addictions lead to a vicious cycle. And when individuals drink to become more sociable, it becomes a cycle, and they feel like they can't lead a regular life without that addiction. And of course, that is so far from the truth. I want you to get this today. If you know anyone with fear-based addictions, know that they are keeping themselves in a fearful state. They're staying in that fear. And that is not good for anyone, including them and the people that they have to deal with in their everyday lives. Another negative effect of fear is that fear stops us, and this is very powerful and probably the most important, but fear can stop us from becoming the person that God intended for us to be. Did you
Thank you for
realize
saying
that
that.
this, yeah, and did you realize that the spirit of fear did not come from God, but from the enemy? He uses it to paralyze us so we do not walk in our destiny. And I want you to repeat after me. I will not allow the enemy to paralyze me ever again.
Ever again.
So we're at the part where I discuss the top 5 ways to conquer your fear. But I would like to the moment to discuss that special offer that I mentioned to you at the beginning of the show. If you've been working to grow your business and it's just not happening as fast as you would like, I'd like to help you to create a major business breakthrough. Here's the scoop. I've heard from a lot of small business owners, and they're having an especially difficult time growing their business. They're also having trouble overcoming their fears of growing their business, as well as their limiting beliefs. After hearing about so many people's struggles, I decided to do something about it. So for a limited time, I would like to take advantage of this special offer of a business breakthrough coaching session. Where we will work together to create a clear vision. Because remember, the clearer you are on your vision, the more comfortable, more confident you become, and the more fearless you will be. We will also cover hidden challenges, obstacles that may be keeping you stuck and preventing you from moving forward. Another thing we're going to do is we're going to create an action plan. And later on, you're going to learn the power of taking action and what it can do for you. And finally, I want you to know at the end of our coaching session, you will leave feeling renewed, re-energized, and inspired. So if this is something that interests you, I want you to take advantage of this very special, very limited, and totally free 30-minute breakthrough coaching session. If you want, you can email me at info@unstoppablemoms.net, or you can send me an email at coach.aisha, and that's AYESHA@gmail.com. For the subject line, all you got to put is business breakthrough. I can't guarantee a coaching session for everyone, but I'll take as many people as I can, and then I'll start a waiting list. So once I receive your email, you can expect a reply within 2 business days. Again, to take advantage of this very special offer, please send me an email to info@unstoppablemoms.net or coach.aisha@gmail.com. Okay, on now we're going to talk about the juicy stuff. How are we doing with Roxanne? Is it time for a break?
Yes, it is. I'm so glad that you reminded me of that. And I want to let you know that the information that you've given us already is simply very valuable. As you know, I have been trying so hard to get my book finished and published, and the book, the basis of the subject is around fear. And the title of my book is Finally Set Free.
Oh,
and we as women, we cannot get totally free until we get rid of every inhibition, everything that we've allowed the enemy to keep us stuck in that place of quicksand where we can't move. We have to be transparent enough to believe that if God put that vision inside of us, he's going to make sure that he's going to give us the provision. So it is not by accident that you and I connect in the spirit, whether it's through somebody else, whether it's through Facebook, it really doesn't matter, because the message is just not a message on a local level. It's a message on the international level. There are women all across the world that are in bondage. They're in bondage to their own self-sabotaging behaviors. They're in bondage to those relationships that for whatever reason they just can't seem to get released. So I'm so glad that you said that God has not given us a spirit of fear. He's given us a sound mind, and he's given us love. And if we begin to love who we are as in charge of our destiny, we can get free. So before we take this short break, I just want to take the time to once again let our listeners know that we are talking with Aisha Shabazz of Unstoppable Moms, and she has a lot of information that she has already given us about how we can overcome fear. When we come back from the break, she's going to continue to give us those 5 ways to help us get free. And we're going to make sure that we rejoice, that we can say to ourselves, the victory is already won, because we have someone like Aisha Shabazz to come on the Sisters in Charge show on Agape Radio to help our sisters get free. Before we go to that short break, let me also mention our wonderful sponsors. I just had another sponsor come forth. Her name is Ann Quasman, and she runs a radio show out of Washington, D.C. called Women Talk Live. And she talks about subjects that sometimes women don't want to talk about. So I just want to thank her for becoming one of our sponsors, and we'll be right back to the Sisters in Charge show. And remember, live on purpose, because you have a purpose to live. Roxanne Robinson of Step Into Your Destiny, and we'll be right back.
Wake up too early, go to bed too late. I'm so tired, Lord. And I'm there for my family, while I'm working hard, while I'm on my job. Trying to fit in, while I wear a smile, but inside I'm crying, Lord. Lord, please hear me. You are my shelter from the rain. Shelter in the storm. Hide from the rain. Trying to pay my bills, get a helping hand. God, work it out. Get it together, need to be on time and be more responsible. Lord, you're my refuge and my shelter, and I am safe with you, safe with you. You are my shelter from the rain. Shelter in the storm. Hide from the pain. Oh, Father, I'm calling you, calling you. I need you, Lord. I need you, Lord. I need you in my life. Lord, cover me and shield me from the danger of the enemy. I need you, Lord. Please guide me and help me and show me the way. Show me the truth. Show me the light. I need you. Shelter in the storm. My shelter in the storm. Shelter the shadow. Oh, shelter in the storm. I'll run to that secret place. You are a fortress, my refuge. I'll trust in you, my rock, my sword, my shield. I run to you, deliver me from the snare of the fowler and the storm. Let your presence cover me and shield me from the terror of the night, and keep me from the arrows of the day of destruction. Shelter in the storm, my shelter in the storm. I wanna feel that fresh anointing. I wanna feel that fresh anointing. Please let me feel that fresh anointing. Please sing, boy. I wanna feel that. Fresh anointing. Just let me feel that. Fresh anointing. Sing, boy. I need to feel that. Fresh anointing. Please, 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 send that. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, I feel pretty good right now. Oh, yeah. I wanna feel that fresh anointing. Just let me feel that fresh anointing. Please let me feel that fresh anointing. Please, Lord. Please, Lord. Please, please, Lord. I can't do nothing until you come. I'm waiting on you to send it on down. Please, Lord. Please, Lord. Send it on down. Good God Almighty. Send it on now. I need you, Lord, to send it on now. Come on, Lord. Just send it on now. I need you. Please, 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 I'm begging you. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. Send it on now. Ooh, yeah. Oh, I feel it coming now, y'all. Send it on now. We feel your power. The anointing power that changes lives. Changes your walk. It'll change the way you talk. The way you treat everybody. Send it down, Lord. That fresh anointing. That power. Oh, that power. That anointing power. Come on, Lord. Send it on down. Please. 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 Somebody needs you. Can't do without you. They're waiting for a change in their life. Send it on now. Good God Almighty. Look here. Look at the Spirit. Look at the Spirit. Look at the Spirit. The Spirit of God. Please, please, Lord. Please, 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 Lord.
Well, welcome back to the Sisters in Charge radio show on Agape Radio. I don't know if you were listening to that song, but yes, we got to send it on back. And I'm just on fire. I'm sitting in my chair just so excited about the rest of the show and all that Aisha has to share with us. But before we get back to her, when I was thinking about fear, the one thing that the Lord dropped into my spirit is that, we have to learn how to replace fear with something else. So I'm sure that Aisha is going to touch base on that for the remainder of the show. So we're going to let her have the floor again to get all of these wonderful things out here so that we can be able to benefit from the expertise and the research that she has done on the spirit of fear. So welcome back, Ms. Shabazz.
Thank you. And let me tell you, Roxanne, I've never heard that song before, but I was sitting here in my chair just dancing away. I was sitting there, oh, that sounded good. I love that. So for those of you who are listening, are you ready to learn the 5 ways to overcome or conquer your fears? The first way is to examine the fear. Ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? Why am I feeling this fear? Is this fear coming from a place that's realistic? Many people experience fear for various reasons. And remember, it could be due to a painful past experience, growing up with fearful parents, or based on someone else's fear. Another way to overcome fear is to put your fear into perspective. Okay, so let's say you want a business, but you're afraid that no one's going to want or buy your products or services. You're afraid of putting the time, energy, and money into something that you're not even sure is going to make a profit. I understand that fear, especially about time. That's something that none of us can get back. But if you really think about it, what are the chances of no one buying your products or services? According to the United Nations, there are roughly 6 billion people in the world. If you create something of value and you market it correctly, I can almost guarantee you that someone will buy from you. So you just have to eat it. Do not let those fears enter into your mind. Another way to conquer your fear is to embrace the fear. That's right, you heard me correctly. This is the best way to work with your fear and not against it. Embracing your fear will prevent you from becoming paralyzed and taking you down where you become even more fearful and living your life in anxiety. Who wants to live that way? For whatever reason, you're going to feel fear. We all are. It's something we have to accept. But I want you to not only accept fear, I want you to embrace fear, and I want you to overcome fear. I don't mean letting fear control you. I mean you controlling it. Another powerful way, and probably one of the most effective ways to overcome and conquer your fear, and that's to take action. That's right. You won't know if your fear is real unless you take action. When I think of this step, I immediately think of NBA ball players. And my boyfriend is like, please don't talk about basketball. You don't know anything about it. I know that the ball goes into this net thingy and people run up and down the court, and I think I know what a free throw is. But no, he's absolutely right. I don't know much about basketball, but I am constantly mesmerized at how these players continuously overcome their fear simply by shooting a ball. Sometimes they make the shot and sometimes they don't. But no one will know that player's full potential, including that player, unless he takes action and makes the shot. If he misses the shot, what's the worst that could happen? He gets booed for 5 seconds? That's not that bad, right? But the point I'm trying to make here is you will never realize your full potential unless you embrace your fears and act against them. Start doing that today. And the final step to overcoming your fears is to get support. Whenever you take on something new, like starting a business, it can be such a terrifying experience. Trust me, I know. When you take on something not knowing where you end up, your little gremlin, as many of our many coaches call it, will appear just to try to discourage you. He'll say things like, you can't do this, you're just fooling yourself, or you should focus on your children and not a dream, just trying to keep you down and defeated. You don't have to battle this mean, nasty gremlin all by yourself. I like to encourage you to seek out family and friends, people that you know who are encouraging to you and who can keep you inspired. And if you don't know anyone in your circle who fits that description, then reach out to a coach or a mentor. That's what they're there for. They're in their field because they love helping others. They love encouraging people and inspiring them and helping them to walk into their destiny. Getting support and encouragement from others will give you the strength and focus you need to ignore that mean, nasty gremlin and move forward so you can walk into your destiny. The purpose of your gremlin is also to keep you from achieving your dreams. He doesn't want you to have peace, joy, and happiness. He wants you to be miserable. He wants you to stay in that fearful state. He doesn't want you to make God happy and put a smile on his face. He wants you for himself. He's selfish. So I say to you, don't give him the power. Don't give him the time. Just keep on moving and just ignore him despite whatever little things he's trying to put into your ear. So basically, I want you to practice overcoming your fears. And I'm going to say this, and I want you to get this. Practice overcoming your fears today so that you can face your success tomorrow. And I'm here to confirm, me and Roxanne and I, we are such on the same page. Because I want you to repeat something. And she's repeated part of it earlier, but I want you to repeat it with me again right now. I have not been given the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And like Roxanne, it is also one of my favorite scriptures that you can find in the Bible, Timothy, 1st chapter, 7th verse. So if there's anything that you take away from this today, and that is to start right now, to start practicing to overcome your fears. Start walking into your destiny. Trust me, God is waiting on you. Thank you.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Wow, that was a lot of powerful, powerful information. And I hope that those that are listening take advantage of that. It's obvious that you did your homework, you did your research on the subject of fear, and I'm sure there is more information that you could share with our listeners. So I'm going to come up with a creative way to bring you back to the show, maybe in a month or two, after the women get healed internally, and let's just see if they utilize these 5 things that you've given them to overcome fear, so they can be restored and delivered and set free. It will be quite interesting to see just exactly where they're at. When you talk about walking into your destiny or stepping into your destiny, Aisha, I'm sure that you know that if you didn't take fear to faith, you would not be sitting in that seat where you are now, telling women how to overcome that fear. And I just want to affirm on tonight that yes, when you're starting a business or a ministry, you could get discouraged because you think nobody's buying my product. I could get discouraged and say that there aren't enough people listening to my show or utilizing my coaching services. But again, that scripture that talked about that God simply has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. The most important thing that I want our listeners to take away with them is that we have power. We have power over that fear. And if you want to be a sister in charge, you have to overcome those things that you talked about. So I want to be able to utilize the information that you imparted to us tonight. So please, again, let us know the address of your website, your phone number. If you want to mention that special again, it's okay. But so please take this time. We have about 9 minutes left on the show that I want you to be able to let the women know where they can find you if they would like to reach out.
Thank you so much, Roxanne. Again, my website is www.unstoppablemoms.net. My phone number is 240-565-3130. Again, that's 240-565-3130. If you're interested in that special offer that I'm offering you today, you can send me an email to info@unstoppablemoms.net or coach.ayesha, AYESHA, @gmail.com. And again, I just want to highlight the benefits of our breakthrough business coaching session. We're going to start out with clarifying your vision. Because remember, the clearer you are on your vision, the more confident you are when you walk into your destiny, and the more fearless you will become. Another benefit of our breakthrough coaching session is that we're going to uncover any hidden challenges or obstacles that have been keeping you stuck, keeping you behind, and keeping you from growing the way you should be growing. And we're going to look at those and we're going to dissect those, and we're going to come up with a plan for you to move forward. And another thing we're going to do is we're going to create an effective, strategic action plan. Remember, action is one of the most powerful ways for you to overcome fear. And then also, the more action you take, the closer you are to achieving your goals. So thank you so much, Roxanne. I just can't thank you enough for, again, allowing me to share my message. Fear, like I said, is something I'm very passionate about. But I did want to say there's one thing that kind of shocks me when I'm coaching my clients is that a lot of them don't even realize that it's fear that's holding them back. They're so focused on their excuses. Oh, this is not the good time for me to start my business, or this is not a good time for me to achieve that goal. I have too many things going on. I'm away from my kids to grow up. They have excuse after excuse after excuse. But I have to let them know, you know what that is? That is fear stopping you.
Yes.
There will never be a perfect time for you to start anything. There's always going to be something. So if you're out there listening right now, know that if you find yourself making excuses for why you're not in your destiny and making your dreams come true, it's simply because you are allowing fear to overcome you. I don't want that to happen. And if you find yourself in that place, I strongly encourage you to send me an email. I promise you, I will get you going. I will get you to overcome that fear and get you walking into your destiny faster than you can say power. So thanks again, everyone out there who are listening. Please tune in to Roxanne's show. Again, her show is the second, third, and fourth Thursdays of every month. Every month she has a different topic and a different guest. I want you guys to support her. She's out here doing positive things. She has a positive message. She's just like me. She doesn't want you living your life based on fear. She wants you to walk in your destiny. She wants you to overcome those obstacles and delete those limiting mindsets, that mindset that keeps you from doing what you want to do. So support her. We will all support each other. And again, thank you. I can't thank you enough. I've had a blast. Again, I love that song. I'm going to have to text you or something and see who sung that song. I'm still dancing in my head. I'm still getting it.
Me too.
So that's about it for me. That's about it for me, Roxanne. If I just close out, and I'll let you have at it.
Okay. Once again, thank you so much for our special, wonderful guest, Miss Ayesha Shabazz of Unstoppable Moms, doing powerful things to make women be confident in who they are by learning how to conquer that thing called fear. I just want to thank her just for being obedient and being available to allow the Holy Spirit to use her on the Sisters in Charge show tonight. With the message of fear, I want to let you know that in July and August, throughout the whole summer, not only if you're a woman that in her healing, we're also going to be having coaching sessions on how to win the battle over self-sabotaging behaviors. We all know that fear is real. It's a negative energy and a negative emotion that has to go. And we as women, we operate off of our emotions. We allow things to hinder us from getting free from fear and anxiety because we let the enemy overpower us in our minds and in our hearts. But I'm here tonight on the Sisters Charge show that you must live on purpose because you have a purpose to live. You must get rid of the fear that you have in your life and replace it with faith. If that fear is connected to people who are trying to make you fearful, then you have to let them go and let them move on. If you are standing in a place where you know you're not going anywhere because of the fear, you have to say, God, let it thou be removed right now in the name of Jesus. Learn how to call them things out, because each and every day when you are getting to your purpose and your destiny, the enemy is going to come after you. But if you recognize the voice of God stronger than the voice of the enemy, you will be able to get to that place called freedom. If you want to be a sister in charge, I want you to continue to listen to the show on every second, third, and fourth Thursday of the month, because each week God gives me a fresh revelation, a new purpose, and a new sound, the voice of what he wants me to say through the women that come on to the show. Has never been about me. It has been about you, to empower you to get to that place where you've always desired to be. Time is winding up, ladies, and we don't have a whole lot of time what God has told us to do. But if you stand firm on his word and you look into the mirror and firm each and every day that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, then you are that Proverbs 31 woman that God talks about. If you are the woman that can know how to step out on faith and be all that you can be, you will become a sister in charge. We want to thank you for this opportunity again for our special guest that was on the show with us, Miss Aisha Shabazz. And before I close out, I just want to let you know that we will be launching a launch party for the radio show and for my business in the month of August. I'll be talking about that in the weeks to come, so stay tuned. But please, ladies, tell all of your sister friends about the Sister in Charge show so that they can also get on to the show and learn all that they can learn, so they can be powerful, persistent, that they can persevere, and most of all, walk in the purpose that God has already ordained. We want the women that listen to see the manifestation of God's glory. And as we learn how to shake off the enemy and replace it with all of those wonderful attributes that God has put in us, joy, peace, victory, long suffering, you will be that sister in charge. My name is Roxanne Robinson of Step Into Your Destiny, LLC. Please drop me an email if you want to learn more about my coaching services. My email address is roxanne@stepinto, that's the number 2, yourdestiny.com. Please visit my website at www.stepintoyourdestiny.com. And last but not least, remember, lady, live on purpose, because you do have a purpose to live. Forget about your past. Forget about the mistakes that you made. Brush yourself off. Look into the mirror and say to yourself, I am a woman in charge of my destiny. And get ready to see victory in your life. Good night and see you next week. Once again, my name is Roxanne Robinson of Step Into Your Destiny. Continue to be all that you can be by being a sister in charge. Good night.